Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bok Wan. I am a PhD student from Economics Department at Clemson University. It's my honor to give a presentation at this conference. The research I would like to share with you today is called The Power of Marriage, the Causal Effect of Parental Marital Status on Child's Earnings. A stable marriage plays an essential role in the child's well-being. However, do you know that in the United States, the divorce rate has been increasing over the past decades? According to the PSID surveys, among all the parents with at least one child, the percent of the married parents dropped from 75% in 1968 to 64% in 2017. I was concerned about whether the parental marital structures affect their children's future income. The sample in my research is the children from 25 to 54 years of age in the 2017 PSID survey. I generated 5 categories of the parental marital structures according to the parents' marital status during their child's 16 years of childhood. The 5 categories are the parents remain married, parents ever divorced, ever separated, ever single, and ever widowed. The statistics with the sample weight adjustment show that about 62% of the children grew up with their parents remain married during their childhood, and about 1/3 of the children grew up in families where their parents divorced or separated during their childhood. My research directly measured the causal effect of a stable parental marriage on their child's future earnings. I observed that the child's adult earnings are associated with the parental marital status. The children who grew up in intact families earned more than their counterparts who had parents with the other marital status. This table shows that for both male and female workers, the earnings difference between the two parental marital groups is significantly different from 0. However, association does not necessarily mean causality. I would like to find out the answers to the following questions. Could parental marital status during childhood explain the child's adult earnings? If yes, through which channels does parental marriage affect the child's earnings? I need to tackle 3 endogeneity problems to find a causal relationship. First, I must disentangle the parental marriage effect from the parental income and education effects. Second, I should consider the unobserved omitted variables and family heterogeneity. Third, I need to find the mechanism through which the parental marital structures influence the child's adult earnings. Let's solve these problems one by one. Do childhood family structures causally affect the child's adult earnings, or do the correlations reflect some other parental factors? In order to disentangle parental marriage effect from other parental factors, I include the parental household income, the parental educational attainment in the model, along with the child's work experience, gender, race, region, and the number of children in parental household as control variables to isolate the parental marriage effect from the parental income and education effects. Are there any omitted variables in the model? Yes, there's something in common that runs in the family across generations of descendants. There are family-specific heterogeneity that could bias the estimates. To deal with it, I estimate an extended family fixed effects model controlling for the family-specific heterogeneity, such as the family tradition, the genetic characteristics, and other unobserved factors that runs in the blood across generations of descendants. In the fixed effects model, the composite error term epsilon contains the fixed effects mu and the idiosyncratic component E. The fixed effects mu are family-specific and descendant invariant that could be removed using the within estimators of the fixed effects model. Third, are there any other unobserved factors in the idiosyncratic component E that could affect the child's adult earnings? Yes, some omitted variables, such as the personality, the adversity quotient, AQ, correlated with both the trichoid environment and the child's adult earnings. They are descendant-specific and could not be eliminated in the fixed effects model. I used the state-level no-fault divorce law as an instrument variable for the endogenous parental marital status and obtained the two-stage least squares estimator. The instrument variable satisfied both the instrument relevance and the instrument exogeneity requirements. The former could be verified in the first stage of the two-stage least square. And the first stage statistics showed that the no-fault divorce law was not a weak instrument. On the other hand, the divorce law was not likely to directly or indirectly affect the child's adult earnings through any channels other than through the parents' divorce decisions. The OLS gives an estimate of 0.107. The extended family fixed effects provides a higher estimate. The two-stage least squares gives an even higher estimate for the parental marriage effect. An ideal specification is a combination of the two-stage least squares and the fixed effects model. The estimate is 0.224, suggesting that the children who grew up in families where their parents remain married earn 22%, or more precisely 25% more than their counterparts from non-intact families, holding other factors constant. And this is the causal effect of a stable parental marriage on the child's adult earnings. The parental marriage effect on the child's earnings varied with the parental household income. This graph shows that the child's earnings increased with the parental household income, and the earnings gap between the two groups of children with different parental marital status increased with the income too. It implies that the parental marriage effect on the child's earnings is more substantial and more significant for the children whose parents are more wealthy. The parental marriage effect on the child's earnings was higher for the children who grew up in families where their parents are well educated. The earnings gap between the two groups of children with different parental marital status becomes more significant for the children with highly educated parents. Among sons, the parental marriage effect on the child's earnings was more significant. The sons of married parents earn more than the sons of divorced parents on average, holding other factors constant. And there's no such effect among daughters. The child's earnings work experience profile was significantly different between the two groups of children with different parental marital status at a range from 9 years to 22 years of work experience. The causal effect of a stable parental marriage on the child's earnings varied with different factors. It was greater and more significant for the children whose parental household had more resources during their childhood, for the children whose parents were well educated, for sons instead of daughters, for those who are in the middle of their career. For instance, a son who grew up in an intact family with a parental household income of $62,000 in 2000 US dollars earned 26% more on average than his counterparts with the same background but grew up in divorced or separated families. By contrast, a daughter from an intact family with a parental household income of $26,000 in 2000 US dollars earned only 1.7% more than her counterparts with the same background but reared by non-intact families. Finally, let's investigate the mechanism that links the parental marriage and the child's adult earnings. There were two channels: the investment in child's education channel and the intergenerational marriage persistence channel, through which the parental marital status affect the child's earnings. The child's educational attainment and the child's marital status are the two mediator variables that represent these two channels. The parental marriage effect through these two channels was the indirect effect. The coefficients for the direct effect model, the investment in child's education channel model, the intergenerational marriage persistence channel model have been estimated, and the indirect effect through these two channels accounted for more than half of the total effect of the parental marital status on the child's earnings. The causal effect of a stable parental marriage on the child's adult earnings was positive and significant, and it demonstrates the power of marriage. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present my work here. Goodbye.